Hi members, this is Ben Martian, Head of Policy Strategy Innovation at the FPA. I'm really excited to introduce you today to Bradley Vermeer, or Brad Vermeer. Brad is our new Senior Manager of Government Relations and Policy. Welcome to the FPA, Brad.
Thanks, Ben. Great to be here. Very excited.
Excellent. So I just thought it might be useful for members to understand a little bit about you, where you've come from, what your experience are, and then we'll sort of talk about a little bit about the work you do and how you can help members with their advocacy efforts with their local members of parliament. So just starting off, where are you? Where have you been?
At the moment, I'm based in Adelaide because we're luckily not in lockdown at the moment, but we'll be moving back to Sydney. I originally started my career years ago in Adelaide in local government. I was a councillor and then deputy mayor of the city of Salisbury, which is in Adelaide's northern suburbs. I then worked in the state parliament for a number of years for the opposition whip, some time in the leader's office, and then moved up to the Northern Territory to work for the leader of the opposition up there before becoming director of the Country Liberal Party, which is the amalgam of the Liberal and National parties up there. And then I was lucky enough to move to Sydney to work as operations director of the National Party, which had me in charge of all the communications, political strategy, etc., for the National Party, particularly for the 2019 state and federal election campaigns. Had the opportunity to visit the UK and the US a couple of times for some conferences and to do some work over there whilst I was there. And then I moved most recently to Adelaide to come back home for a little while to work for Senator Andrew McLaughlin, who's a new Liberal Senator for South Australia, as his Chief of Staff. Before I've now been very lucky to take up the role with the FPA and looking forward to getting stuck into it.
Very good. So a lot of experience with successful election campaigns, successful messaging. I think that's what we were sort of most excited about. That is quite a Liberal national bit of experience, though. Can you just talk about the work you do with other parties and the opposition?
Yeah, so a lot of people think that I guess we all hang out in our own little crews when we work in Parliament and for political parties, but actually some of your best friends are from what we would say across the aisle. When I worked, particularly in the South Australian Parliament, I have made a lot of friendships in the Labor Party and the Greens, and crossbenchers, officers. You know, on last Wednesday, I was lucky enough to catch up with a couple of them for dinner because we can do that in Adelaide, just to say hello. But there's been opportunities in my career, particularly in the areas of surrogacy reform, where my boss at the time, as a backbencher, was able to get a bill through Parliament to reform surrogacy in South Australia, and that required a lot of bipartisan, tripartisan work throughout the Parliament, and we were very successful in getting that bill through, which is almost unheard of as an opposition upper house backbencher. So working across the aisle is something that I've done. I mean, particularly when I was on council in South Australia, are all elected as independents, but a lot of people are members of political parties. The northern suburbs is not a renowned hotspot for Liberal Party supporters. It's very Labor oriented. So I worked very closely with people from all political backgrounds to get the best for our residents, and it's something that I'm looking forward to doing for the FPA and for planners across Australia.
Excellent. And I think, the other reason we were really excited to get you on board to help out with the government relations work is your experience, particularly in regional areas and more broadly around the country. A lot of our members are in regionally based chapters rather than in capital cities. And so have you thought a little bit about, I know we had a conversation when we were going through the recruitment process, but we were having a conversation about the way to approach your local member of parliament, how to engage with them, and kind of the clarity of messaging. And can you talk a little bit about that and how you can help our members get the issues that they're concerned about in front of the local member of parliament.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I found when I worked up in the Northern Territory and for the National Party is a lot of people don't realise it, but there is certainly a city bias to a lot of things. I know a lot of people live in the cities, but the kinds of clients and the kinds of needs that planners who live and work out in the regions have compared to people who work in metropolitan areas are vastly different. And it's something you probably wouldn't have even thought about until you had the opportunity to spend the times out in the regions. And it's really important, particularly out in regional communities where you find that the community is a lot closer. Everyone, a lot of people know each other, to get in touch with your local MP about issues that are concerning you. It's only when you get in touch with your local MP or something comes across their desk that they're actually become aware of some of these issues. So, a lot of the stuff that you'll see in the paper, obviously your local MP is going to know about, but some of the nitty gritty stuff, when we're talking about regulatory reform, some of the processes that planners have to go through, they wouldn't be aware of because they're not financial planners. They come from very vastly different backgrounds. So you need to go and talk to them. You need to explain to them what issues are actually affecting you and how they can help you. And most importantly, just make sure when you're going to see a member of parliament that you know what you're asking for. You're going in there, you're making it as simple as possible. Members of parliament come from their own backgrounds, but they might not be a financial planner, and so you need to explain the situation to them. Don't go in there assuming that they know all, particularly because a lot of their staff probably don't have a background in financial planning either. So you just go in there, explain the issue that you have, explain in a really polite way, answer their questions, be really engaging, so they can understand what the problem is and then try and outline what solution that you want from them, so they can take it up with the minister or they can take it through their party processes to try and get a result for you.
Very good. And so I'm not going to, well, actually, I mean, is it a coincidence that 2 days after you started, we got the government to freeze the ASIC levy back to the 2018-19 levels and implement a review? That's the question I think we've all got, Brad.
Look, I'd love to take credit for it all, but I think there was some really hard work that was done behind the scenes. And I think we're lucky at the moment that we have a minister in the financial services portfolio who actually has a background in financial services. So when you're actually making an argument, you've got someone at the other end of the table that understands and is listening. And in this case, the FPA's had a massive win, I think, for planners. And now my job is to make sure that we get this review up and running soon, and that we can get a long-term sustainable model put in place for planners.
Absolutely. All right, so we might leave it there. Just Brad and the policy team at the FPA, we're working on some new advocacy kits for you to deal with some of the issues that are present at the moment: design and distribution obligations, compensation scheme of last resort. And we've obviously got a federal election coming up probably sometime early next year. So we're just starting to get ready a policy platform for you to talk to your candidates in your local electorates in preparation for the election. But on behalf of the members, welcome to the FPA. Brad, members, if you want to reach out to Brad, he'll be on community or via the policy team. And if you've got any questions, if you want to see your local member of parliament, that's what Brad's here to help us with. So thanks for joining us, Brad, and we'll talk to you all later.
Thank you. Looking forward to meeting as many of you as I can when we all get out of lockdown. Yeah.
Thanks, Brad. Have a great day, everyone.